Before starting our presentation, I will first introduce my team. So the title of the article that we chose is Organizational Change Managing Employees' Resistance. The team members will be Tan Chin Ling, Tan Chao Yu, Li Jiajia, and me, Goh Chin Wei. So I will proceed to our presentation. Now I will talk about the key concept. Organizational change emerges from the dynamics of the environment and is inevitable in a society based on fast technological development. Managing organizational change is involved from a known to an unknown situation concerning the management of change and innovation and correlates it with aspects of employees' reaction to change. The key concept of this article is to identify resistance to change is a basic human characteristic and individual's nature, to determine how the organization manages employees' resistance, and to analyze the successful implementation of change on employees in organizations. Next, I will talk about the argument. The first argument to be discussed will be the resistance to change because of organization. According to the author of the article, the resistance to change in organization occurs when it creates too much role incapability for employees. It is also concluded that the resistance may be managed in favor of change and overcome depending on the relationship between managers and subordinates. According to Azad, in the managerial context at the beginning, resistance was presented as an enemy of positive changes that were to bring organizational progress and growth, while it is in a strong contrast to the traditional viewpoint, revealing its utility as a way to actually improve management of change in modern organization. Next, the argument to be discussed will be resistance to change because of self-behavior. According to Devin, it argues that change can only succeed if it is based solidly on an understanding of how people behave, what motivates them, and how improved positive attitudes can be developed. Also, according to Cotter and Schlesingers, people resist change for various reasons, but the most common reasons for resisting change are, firstly, individuals' interests. People are characterized by their own interests and by the desire not to give up something of value. Next, a misunderstanding of the change and its implications. Thirdly, a belief that the change does not make sense for the organizations. And lastly, low tolerance for change. Furthermore, there is also other literature researches on the factors of individual resistance, such as Koch and French, Watsons, and Mullins. From the examples, showing that different researchers found that an individual resistance may be caused by psychological factors. To make an assertion according to the argument stated in the article, it is more likely that the successful implementation of change in organization demands a good knowledge of the features and a high orientation towards analyzing the employee's behavior. In other words, the individual factors such as habits, fear, frustration, and so on may affect the success and effectiveness of the organizational change. To further discuss this, if an organization owns a series of procedures, rules and regulations to manage the change, but the employees own the attitude such as low motivation, lazy, and low performance, there is no way for the organization to proceed effective organizational change. So next, I will pass to my teammates.
From the statement above, I agree that because we cannot predict the future, so they might be afraid that change will change their life or position. It is very normal, the same as our real life. If we suddenly want to change to a new place to live or work, surely we will feel scared, as it is an unknown place. We do not know the people there, we do not recognize the environment there, and also we do not know who to find when we are facing problems. It will make us feel insecure as we are already getting used to the current situation. That is why it may cause fear and insecurity in us. Moreover, employees will lack of confidence toward the change. They are working now with their current position and they already get used to what they always did. Personal lack of confidence causes them fear to change. It can be said as threatened self-importance. They are not confident toward the change, nor the change is not good. It is all about themselves. They think that they cannot do well if they want them to change their job scope and change what they need to do. Lastly, a lot of characteristics are fear of failure. They have not tried but they already judge themselves as failed. They think that they will fail even though they have not started to change or started to do. The points that I mentioned above are talking about the agree side of this statement. However, there are some points that disagree with the statement. Firstly, I want to talk about resistance are affected by many other factors, not only psychological factors, such as organization culture also is one of the factors of resistance of change. Based on this theoretical, it states that the resistance of change which brought by psychological factor is bad, but actually it can be good if those employees have confidence on the change. Secondly, I disagree with the statement because if the company can conduct training and campaign for the employees about the change, the learning environment is very good in the company. Employees definitely will not have those kind of personality that cause them resistant to change. It is all about how the company train and guide their employees instead of their personality, possession, and needs that cause resistance to change. If the norms of the company are good, everyone are very positive and passionate, employees will definitely be confident with themselves and company towards the change. Therefore, it is not about themselves. It is not about their personnel. It is based on the company's training as well as their policy. Last but not least, norms and behavior plays an important role in this. The norms of the company is the element of deciding the employees to whether resistant to change or not. If the norms of the company is good, the way that employees doing things is good, surely they will be brave to face the change and will think that they will be more successful toward the change, as they believe in others due to their behavior and their good working norms. On the other hand, there are some limitations in this article. First, the author conduct a qualitative method on his research. By conducting qualitative research, normally the participant has more control over the content of the data collected. The author will be more difficult to justify as well as verify the result of the research. The response given are not measured as it is not statistically representative, and the participant might just simply give the answer. Moreover, the participant perception may differ over the time. Even the same person may have different perspective tomorrow than they had today. That means the data collected through qualitative research can be difficult to verify, which can lead some question to the conclusions that researchers generate through this process. We cannot control the opinion and the mind of the participant. They might change their mind in a short time after they participate in the research. Therefore, it is hard to verify the data and it is difficult to have an exact and 100% accuracy result. Furthermore, this study assumes that universities are similar to companies with various hierarchical levels, but in fact, universities are different from companies. Companies are more complicated towards the change compared to university. However, this journal was established within 5 years, but the information from this article is quite long. Most of the information is from 8 to 15 years ago. It might not be accurate. Time changed and a lot of things have changed. The working environment, the government policy, the supply and demand, the requirements, and so on. Therefore, The result and information in the article will not give us an accurate result, which will also cause us to have a wrong research result. Last but not least, another limitation of this study, the author focused on more psychological part, but resistance to change actually depends on other factors. Not only the psychological part, authors should include more factors from different angles instead of just focusing on the psychological part, as this may cause an inaccurate result. By taking the factors from different angles, might get a more accurate and appropriate result.
Thanks, Jaja. Hi, I'm Tan Chen Ling. I would like to talk about case method, statistic support, and others writer argument. The methodology of this journal article is a qualitative approach. Basically, we agree to this approach because it can produce a detailed analysis and rich data can lead to more research on the management resistance to change of the employees. An interview guide provided a reliable, comparable qualitative database for this research. This allowed the participant to supply more direction with open question and also allowed for the measurement of specific dimension through indicators. Hence, in studying the organization management employee resistance to change, use qualitative approach to conduct this research is adequate. However, quantitative study done in this issue may positively support the result obtained in this research. This is because a quantitative approach can get a larger sample size to involve more subjects and enable more generalization of the result of managing resistance to organization change. Further research can explore more the perception, behavior, value of the employee in deeper to the organization change. The case study of this research divided the main organization change into three groups, which are changing the occupational area and content of staff faculty duty, changing the status of university employee, changing the formal and informal social relations within the faculty staff. And the results show that 54% have been accepted, 46% have been implemented in the first group, 15% have been accepted, 77% have been implemented, and 8% refused in the second group. 38% accepted, 46% have been implemented, 8% refused, while for a proportion of 8% no change were necessary in the third group. Therefore, we consider that a positive cause of employee resistance or disinterest toward organization change within university may be low motivation due to the lack of financial and non-financial incentive. Hence, it is a successful change when increasing employee motivation to get involved in organization change process, minimizing employees' resistance to change. Consider the analysis. We believe that change were initiated and supported by faculty head and professors. We consider that the proper employee motivation may contribute into a constructive manner to a positive organization change. As a result, change agents should consider the behavior characteristic of individual in order to achieve effective and successful organization change. Next, one of the writers stated that change can only success if it is based solidly on an understanding of how people behave, what motivates them, and how improved positive attitude can be developed. However, Rich believed that it isn't the actual change that individual resist, but rather the transition that must be made to accommodate the change. He stated, change is not the same as transition. Change is situation. The new site, the new boss, the new team role, the new policy. Transition is the psychological process people go through to come to terms with the new situation. Change is external. Transition is internal. Unless transition occurs, change will not going to work. Next, I will pass to Tan Kyayu to continue her part.
Thank you, Qingling. Hi, I'm Qiaoyi, and now I'm going to talk about the implication of the article. Any organization that wants to make a successful transformation should be based on a clear understanding of human behavior in the organization. As we know, organizational change is inevitable based on fast technological development. Hence, it's important that managers should carefully handle the resistance to change of employees nowadays. If an organization wants to succeed through change, such barriers must be addressed. For example, the feeling of failure, low motivation, or fluctuation. Otherwise, it might lead to the failure of the organization due to lack of effective change management. To put it another way, good change management will benefit businesses in terms of both productivity as well as performance. Based on this article, it provides an excellent foundation of information as well as knowledge by explaining how change creates from an organization, the major obstacles that have stymied the acceptance of change by the individual, as well as how to manage employee resistance to change. After the analysis of organizational change in the academic environment, the findings suggest that the most significant obstacles to organization change were identified by higher costs, discouraging legislative regulation, as well as human capital. We also discovered that both monetary and non-monetary incentives, for example, free time, public recognition, and mobility were effective in generating new ideas and increasing creativity. Therefore, we considered that a possible cause of employee resistance or disinterested toward organizational change within university may be low motivation due to lack of financial and non-financial incentive. Now, I'm going to talk about the contribution on the management change. In a nutshell, we think that this journal is significant and it contributes to the literary work as well as knowledge of change management by examining the organizational change. First and foremost, it has identified the change management in the academic environment and divided it into three groups, which are changing the occupational area and content of staff, fluctuating duties, changing the status of university employees, as well as changing the formal and informal social relation within the fluctuating staff. Through the research on the academic environment, we can know that financial as well as non-financial incentive will lead employees more willing to change. On the other hand, this article also contributes to the knowledge of the various models that lead to employee resistance to change. The models which include psychological, organization culture, as well as system models. For example, employee resistance will occur because it threatens the status quo, increased fear, low motivation, and fluctuation. Moreover, employees feel uneasy about the change that the transition necessity is also the factor that contribute to resistance to change. Besides that, the conceptual framework of an individual cognitive process and the impact of the change explain that the employees have their own interpretation of what the change means to them, either irrational or rational. Employee emotion will have a good or negative impact on whether they accept or resistant to change. In conclusion, this article offers the insights that managers demand a good knowledge of the features and a high orientation toward analysis the employee behavior when a company wants to implement change. For example, involving individuals directly in the organizational change process, guide employee by providing management assistance and support, as well as improving information and communication. Employee resistance to change can be minimized by doing these ways. As a result, in order to create effective and successful organizational change agents need to consider individual behavior traits. Hence, this study will serve as a model for organizations undergoing change to achieve a smooth change. And this is the reference list. That's all for our presentation. Thank you.